Good day, all kings and queens, all gods and goddesses, all beautiful people. I am Beef Lost to God, and today what I want to talk about is what to do when the opposite shows up into your 3D reality, right? What to do when the opposite shows up in your 3D reality. Now, the opposite meaning the opposite of whatever intention you have set, right? So let's say you set the intention for a specific person, right? A particular specific person. And after you set that intention, the opposite shows up in your 3D reality. It may not be the type of person, that you have set the intention for. Or maybe it was an ex or something and they didn't show up the way you want them to show up. Now, what do? Do you give up? Do you get angry and frustrated? No. What you do is you continue to persist. Because if you set an intention, right, for a particular thing, right, it is by law, right, that it is already yours as long as you can remain faithful to it. As long as you persist in it, by law, it is already yours. You already have it. So if anything that shows up in your 3D reality is in opposition to the intention that you set, well, then that is not your manifestation. So you continue to persist and persist and persist until it manifests. And from my experience, sometimes that happens in the case of when you set an intention, the opposite tends to show up, right? And from my experience, I had experienced that a lot, right? Yes, and there were times too in the beginning where like I felt frustrated, and and I wanted to give up, but then I had to remind myself, like, I didn't come all this way to give up. I didn't set this intention and go all out, to give up. So I will continue to persist, and as soon after the opposite appears, the actual manifestation will show up. No, I'm not saying that every single time it will happen like that. That like the opposite will show up, and then just as soon as that as it shows up, the real manifestation will show up, because again, every seed has its own appointed hour, right? And all manifestations don't have the same timing, so-called timing. So I'm just saying from my experience, right? But sometimes it do tend to happen, and I know this happened to a lot of people as well. Like they will set the intention for something, and then the opposite will show up, and then they will get frustrated and give up. But I'm here to tell you, do not give up. No matter what it is, stay loyal and stay faithful to your intentions, right? Because sometimes I like to call it a test, right? To see if whatever intention you set, if you really and truly want it, if you really and truly believe and know that you are deserving of that goal, right? So do not give up. I don't care what it is, whether it be money for a job, your own company that you're starting, or whatever the case might be, a specific person, health, a home, car. I don't care whatever it is. If you set the intention and you know you're doing it, and you're persisting in the wish fulfilled, right, and the opposite shows up, don't beat yourself up. Even if you start to get a little frustrated or whatever the case might be, just remember, as I said before, your dwelling place. I spoke about that in the previous video about your dwelling place. The state that you're most dominantly in, right? And that's the state of confidence, knowing that the intention that you set, that is already done. So no matter what shows up in the 3D, and sometimes it can be a bit tricky because our minds can be tricky. One of the most trickiest things within our body is the mind, right? And seeing things with the naked eye, it could be hard at times. But the more you practice it, the better you become. And I can tell you from my experience, you set an intention for something and you're persisting in it, and the opposite shows up, don't worry about that. Continue to persist. Continue to see whatever it is that you want in your mind, because by law it has to materialize. Sometimes that opposite thing just come there. As I said before, I consider it like a test to see if you really want that goal that you set your intentions on. So if you set the intention for a specific person and the opposite shows up, continue to persist in whatever it is you want. Forget what that 3D reality says. Money, the same thing. Continue to focus on what it is that you want to objectify. Whatever it is, I don't care whatever it is. So that is what to do when the opposite shows up in your 3D reality. Persist. That's one of the main things when it comes to manifesting. Persistence. staying faithful and loyal to the goal and to the vision. All right, so I just want to share these brief words of encouragement and enlightenment, inspiration and motivation to all of you. This is what to do when the opposite shows up into your 3D reality. Right? You don't give up, you don't give in. You continue to persist until that which you persisted in has materialized into your world. Any assumption, though false, when persisted in, will harden into fact. All right. So, with all that being said, I am Be Floss to God, sending you love, peace, joy, prosperity, and blessings, and do have a blessed day.